Hey, welcome back. Thanks for taking a few minutes with me today. Happy Sunday. Happy Super Bowl Sunday. So, what I want to cover today in this micro summer briefly is a piece of scripture out of the book of Luke, Luke chapter 14, verse 26. I'll read it and then kind of unpack it a little bit. This is Jesus talking to a crowd of people, and it says, "If anyone comes to me and does not hate his own father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, and yes, even his own life, he cannot be my disciple." And that's it's a pretty heavy piece of scripture. You know, sometimes you read things and it's uplifting and a little bit rosy, and then sometimes you get smacked in the face by scripture. This is one of those smack you in the face type moments. And I think you need to look at it in context and look at the person who's saying it, the crowd that he's speaking to, the preceding verses, the kind of the message that he's getting across here, and kind of take it in proper context. And when you do that, what you realize is that God's not telling you to hate anybody, and he's certainly not telling you to not love or not appreciate or not hold on to those people that he has put in your life, those special people, your spouse and your kids and your family. God is the one that chose your spouse specifically for you. He's the one that gave you your children. He's the one that predestined the family that you would be born into and the environment that you would grow up in. So he's fully aware of all that you have and all that you've been blessed with. And he says, you know, too much you've been given, much will be expected. I know from my perspective, an awful lot's going to be expected because I've got an amazing family. My wife is fantastic. My kids are amazing. My family back home is amazing. I have just an awesome mother and father who raised me in a loving home. My siblings are my best friends. I have so much to be thankful for. But you read a piece of scripture like this, you're like, man, maybe I'm not doing this right. Maybe I haven't advanced to the stage of development in my Christian walk where I'm there. Because right now, I don't hate any of those people that he listed here. I love them dearly, and they mean an awful lot to me. But I think what he's getting at here in the proper context is that he wants to know that he is the most important thing in your life. It's perfectly fine to appreciate the blessings that God has given you as long as those blessings don't become idols that distract you from your worship from him. In Exodus chapter 20, it says, "You should have no other gods before me." And the world has a tendency of taking things that are good and making them the ultimate things, making them the most important things. You know, you start looking at your family and your kids, you say, well, my kids are everything to me. Well, you got to be a little bit careful with that. Your kids can be everything to you in context, but Jesus needs to be everything to you, and understand that your children are a gift directly from him, and you're being tasked with being a steward to watch over them and love them and support them to the best of your ability with his guidance and his love and his provision for the short time that we're here. But we don't want to make our children our God. We don't want to make our parents our God, our spouse our God, our comfort, our lives, our homes, our prosperity. All of those things become idols if they take the place of where God needs to sit in our lives. And I think it's important to make sure that we understand that context. But the other side of it is, as a Christian, I can tell you, I was 28 years old when I came to Christ. And I remember thinking before I became a believer that if I'm going to go down this path, I need to let go of everything. I need to let go of the joy in my life. I'm not going to be able to have friends the way that I have friends now and have relationships and the joy. And it's just going to be this difficult task I'm going to have to muddle through. And what I've actually learned is that everything in my life, every single thing, has been enhanced due to my love and relationship with Jesus Christ. I love deeper. I feel more. My relationships have depth that I could never have known otherwise. My joy, the joy in my life, the peace in my life is so much higher than it was before. And I had a wonderful life before. I really did. But it's just even better. And I think what God is saying here is that it's not like as he goes up, everything else has to go down. They don't have to be inverted on a graph. As he goes up, everything else goes up with him, right? Your relationship with your spouse is going to be enhanced. You are going to love in a different way. Jesus is going to teach you to love in a way that you didn't even have the capability of before your relationship with him. You're going to appreciate your children and the blessings in your family and your friends and those relationships even more. They're going to have more meaning to you now than they would have before. So it's not an either or situation. He's not saying follow me and leave everything else behind and don't have anything to do with it. He's saying follow me first. Love me first. Trust me first. Put me first. And I promise you that these other things will be added to you. And even if they're not, even if we lose a loved one or we lose our home or our comforts or anything in this life, we know that we have hope and peace in the next life that's going to far exceed anything that we could ever experience here. So even in those difficult times and in that loss, you can find that peace. I think C.S. Lewis said, don't let your happiness depend on something you may lose. Your salvation, your relationship, your connection with Christ, once it's sealed, can never be lost. And it's going to enhance every other relationship, every other facet of your life. As you grow closer to Him, everything becomes more clear. Your eyes are transformed, so you see the truth of the gospel. You see what's really important. And as those other things in your life, your kids, your parents, your spouse, your family, you just love them differently. You see them differently. You appreciate them differently. So when you read this at face value, Luke chapter 14:26, it almost seems like a negative connotation, but I think in the proper context of understanding the person and the nature of the God that we love and serve, you can see that he's just saying he wants to be number one. Make him number one and everything else will be added to you. It's not a prosperity gospel. I'm not saying you're going to be rich and wealthy and have wonderful worldly things. That's not the gospel message. What I'm saying is that you're going to see the truth, what the truth is. And Jesus said, I am the way, I am the truth, and I am the life. He said, come to me and rest with me, and I promise you I will give you peace. And ultimately, that's the message of the gospel, is that he's going to bring you peace. And we have a little bit of time here that we get to experience that peace and share that peace and talk about that peace with other people. And that's kind of what we're called to do, is to live life. He said, be still and know that I am God. Let this penetrate your heart, and then go out into the world and let the world see what that love looks like shining through your life. So that's what I got today. Hope you are doing well. God bless you. Thank you for the time today. I hope to be back maybe next week or whenever God calls me to come back. But until then, take care. God bless. We'll talk soon.